Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions Publishing, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are a couple of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This one is called The Alchemy of Intuition, Embodied Practices to Access Your Inner Voice. I have a shout out, first of all, to our lead author, you guys, and I'm going to introduce Michelle and Christine to you right after that. But first of all, check out this cover, because our lead author, Dr. Tiffany McBride, did the artwork for this cover. And this is, so y'all are going to have to read the story inside the book about this crow, y'all, because it is amazing. Single thing about this book has been magical and amazing. And my gratitude goes to Tiffany for the big vision and mission she had for this book. This was no ordinary project. She brought a whole crew of us over to Ireland for a magnificent adventure, led amazing exercises, guided us to ourselves, to our most powerful place, this place of intuition. And I'm grateful. This is a topic that is so juicy. And I have a couple of very cool people in my Zoom room who are going to talk about it today. Michelle Tatos is all about the human energy body, spirit guides, and meditation. And her sessions focus on providing people with information and tools to become happier and healthier. Christine Falcon-Daigle is with us. She's a best-selling author, poet, transformational coach, and women's circle facilitator who founded the this one gets me every time. Transformanity Collective. You say it, Christine.
Transformanity.
Thank you. Yes. Collective, creating immersive one-day retreats, uniting healing arts professionals. Ladies, I'm so excited to see you again because it feels like forever since we were in Ireland together, but what an incredible trip. Oh. Christine, I want to start with you today. Give us a little bit of the why behind the chapter that you wrote.
I think for me, the roots of our families, the roots of our lineages, the roots of our life, which literally involve nature, Mother Nature, are just so important to remember. And you know, if you think about roots, they're usually the things below the ground, the things that we don't see, but they're so important. And it's essential for us in order to have healthy relationships. If we want to have quality relationships in our lives that are, some people want to just stay up above the surface, and that's fine. And what I've learned is just the depth is where it's at. And so that's what motivated me to dig a little deeper.
The depth is where it's at. Go down into the roots, people. Like
that's deeper. A t-shirt. The depth is where it's at.
So, okay, Christine, take me deeper. Like, what does that mean to you when you're having a deeper conversation?
Well, there's a quality. There's a different quality. And for me, the trip to Ireland was a return to my ancestral homelands. And I knew about my Irish heritage. I knew stories, and I had seen pictures, but I hadn't set foot on the land. And when I first stood there and took my shoes off and had my feet in the grass, and it was like something connected, something registered in my energetic and spiritual body that I didn't even realize I was missing. And it was an experiential thing. It was a felt sense in my body. And to stand on the earth, on the place where ancestors had lived and died and, held ritual and ceremony and lived their lives and sang their songs, it was just so incredibly powerful for me. And I actually went in thinking I was going to write a completely different chapter, and I had to let that go because the earth, when I got back, it was like, nope, you're going to write about me. You're going to write about our relationship. And it was very mothering. It was just this inexplicable felt sense of being held in a way that we experience first with our actual mother, if we're lucky, and but to be held by the earth herself, like as a physical being that I'm not separate from. I'm a part of her. We're all a part of her. That was something that really blew my mind. Yeah.
I love listening to you describe this, the sense that you experienced through feet on the earth, that there's a palpable thing that happened to many of us. I would tell you guys that my version was through the sound of the voices of the Irish people when I got there. It's like what Christine said, but that was the way I was having this phenomenal experience of connection. And I joke with people, it's like, yeah, I guess I realized recently I'm like 44% Irish, but had never been to Ireland.
Yeah.
So it was really outstanding.
Yeah.
Christine, thank you. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for saying yes to this project, for being here today. We're going to ask you a little bit more in just a minute. So, Michelle, tell us a little bit about your why.
My why. Well, I just thought it was really important to remind people that everybody is intuitive, and just the importance of remembering that, and uh, just remembering to access that and to expand that. And it looks different for everybody. My title, chapter 7, is Intuition Comes in All Shapes and Sizes. And so I just wanted to tell my story, and hoping it would prompt other people to remember their stories, and to remember to focus on your intuition, because it's something that needs care and attention. Just like it's important to put your feet in the ground and connect with Mother Earth. It's important to kind of put your hands on your heart and connect with yourself, with your higher self, with your intuition.
So, I think one of the things that we need to remember is that to do that, to even learn the way that you receive the messages, we're going to have to quiet everything down. We're going to have to get to a more still space. Would you agree? How do you want to encourage people to start to tap in a little bit?
Well, I think everyone's different. For some people, it's getting to a quiet space. For some people, that's really a challenge. Um, and so it's finding out what works for you. Like for you, it was hearing the voices of the Irish people that kind of brought you in. For Christine, it's putting her, connecting to the earth. Some people, it's just walking among the trees and touching them. you know every it's finding what works for you. I teach guided meditation, which is my favorite way of going there. And I work closely with my guides. And so often when I'm doing guided meditation, people are like, I can't, like, my mind won't quiet, so that's why I don't meditate. And so I think it's just important to find out, well, what works for you. Maybe you need to be chanting. Maybe you need complete quiet. Maybe you can't stand the quiet. You need loud music, and you need to just I know somebody here who loves dancing and the music just gets you into space, right? So to me, it's finding what brings you there. What brings you to feel like I'm so connected with me, with my heart. I mean, I sometimes will get barefoot, go in my backyard, put on music, and dance. My 17-year-old son busted me a few days ago. He's trying to find me. He comes out. He's like, "Oh, hi, Mom." I'm like, just connecting with myself, dear.
I love that, Michelle. And it's kind of why I asked that question, because I think a lot of people are told to get still, get quiet, but that could backfire. And so I
Yeah.
love the way that you answered that. So I'm going to stick with you for a minute on this next question. And I'm just curious, what's been the most exciting thing for you personally about this intuition connection?
Oh gosh. Everything. I mean, I'm going to make this super quick. I was one of those children who saw things as a child. I saw spirits in my room, I saw entities, and it was quickly shut down because, if your family doesn't see it, they think you just have a really active imagination and it kind of scares them, which is what happened with me and what's happened with a lot of people I've talked to. And so, for me, I shut it down for years, just blinders on. And then when I finally was ready I was in my 30s, I started really exploring it. And I just feel like my life pivoted in such a beautiful, I mean, kind of chaotic way, because when you start to come into it, it's intense. Um, but I just feel like I have a different lens and I feel like I'm never alone. I've got my higher self that I can always talk to. I've got my guides, and I've discovered this amazing community of people like you that, really are trying to connect with not just themselves, but the earth and the community. And I feel like it's brought me to a better place for myself and to connect with just these incredible, loving people. I hope
Mm.
that answered your question.
Yeah, I would use that answer as part of mine too, the connection to others who are all practicing together. And there's so much magic and juiciness in this community.
I mean, it's lovely. Just lovely.
Christine, how about you? What's the most exciting thing about this? Maybe you've got a story of like when something happened because you were connected. You guys have the most amazing stories.
Hmm. Well, just listening to Michelle's answer right there, it was like this deep, overwhelming sense of being home. I'm home in my body now. And I think about my own journey and this healing journey I've been on for most of my adult life. And I relate to a lot of your story, Michelle. And for me, it wasn't physically safe in my family. So I had to develop a way to travel and leave my body and kind of exist in this other realm of the imagination and stories and daydreaming. And it's taken me all my life to come back into my body. And I love that Tiffany's, the title of our book is Embodied Practices. So this is about embodiment and being like fully in, like my battery pack is charged up and I'm ready to do what it is that I'm here on earth to do. And I couldn't do that before. And so just owning my own power, owning my intuition. I was divorced from my intuition and my ability to feel these subtle cues, that they're like essential for navigating life. And to be able to trust that has taken me a lot of work. And so I don't really remember what the question specifically was, Laura. Maybe you can help me, but
You're answering it already.
Yeah,
Just
you're on point.
that most exciting thing about it to
yeah,
you.
I get to
Yeah.
be a conscious being in a physical body. What an amazing, extraordinary miracle that is. Yeah. And I love my body now. Like I used to have so much self-hatred and self judgment and criticism about my body. And now I see it's like this um, masterpiece of creation. And again, that goes back to earth and knowing that, especially as women, we're connected to the cycles and the seasons and the moon. And so we even have maybe a stronger ability to connect with our intuition because we're so deeply tied to the earth. So
I love that. And I love that you touched on feel the subtle cues. Like my answer to this excitement about it is I don't ever have to question what life brings me anymore because I know it's all for me.
Mm.
And that has been a huge, exciting gift rather than being triggered into things that are bad or good or whatever. Like I just stopped judging and getting stuck in that so much. And through my intuition, those subtle cues, understanding if something's for me, to lean into something or back away from something. Like I know now I can make any decision with clarity. That's pretty exciting. And it really is about what you said about the subtle cues. So I want to give, you know, first of all, humongous gratitude to both of you. It's you work with clients, you do these things every day, you help guide people, and it's quite another thing to get it down in a book in black and white in a way that the reader can have the experience. And so we asked you to share your beautiful stories, which both of you did, and then drop some of these master teachings for us. So the medicine section, oh, you guys, what a gift. And so thank you for doing that so brilliantly. And I want to give both of you a chance to talk more about that medicine. Christine, what's the most important thing you want us to know about plant medicine?
Well, humans and plants have evolved, co-evolved together for millennia, so they are our relatives. We are in conversation, in communion, in direct relationship with the plants and the foods. I see plants as medicine, food as medicine. Being married to an organic farmer, I've learned a lot about the soil and about composting and how to, there's just so many applications. And there are allies. They're such important allies. And we have a lot to learn from them. And I think the more we can tune into the plants that maybe are around our house, around, many of us came from different places. We live on the continent of North America right now with the first peoples called Turtle Island here, but my ancestors came from Ireland. Some of my ancestors came from Scandinavia. Some of my other ancestors were indigenous and born on this continent here. And so it's just really important to understand where your own ancestry, where you hail from, what you're embodying right now and that lineage of the DNA, but also having relationships with maybe the plants that were important to your people at one time, wherever you come from, and then to also recognize the plants and the foods and the trees that are surrounding you where you live now, and to maybe do a little exploration into if you weren't born where you're living now and your ancestors didn't care for and they didn't steward that land for millennia, who did? Who were those first peoples? And learn about the first peoples and support them, because they're not gone. Like where I live right now, it's the Coast Miwok and Ohlone, and so I'm learning more about those people and their descendants who are very much still here. And what did they have to teach me? And so it's just about being curious and having this process of inquiry into past and present, and how does that support the person who I am today, and then how does that translate into my relationships with those around me? And does that answer the question?
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys, I can't wait for you to read Christine's full chapter in the Alchemy of Intuition about this, right? And you're going to have an experience with it, which is amazing. So, Michelle, for you, what's that most important thing you want us to know about getting the heart-centered answers that we want from that intuition connection?
Well, it was like you were saying that you love that now because of intuition, you feel like you have more clarity with your decisions and your information. So what I think is really important is that we start using our heart to make decisions. And when we have a decision to make, our mind gets all excited and goes to work and starts to put all our options, everything through these filters. And a lot of the filters were, layered on us by our parents, our teachers, society, and so there's those filters that may not be wholly us. And so I've come up with a fun tool um, to to really walk yourself and kind of land in your heart, because our heart is our biggest connection to our higher self, and our heart knows what's best for us. And what's best for us is going to also be what's best for the earth, for our community, because our heart is just unconditional love. And so learning to make decisions, especially important ones, through your heart is just amazing. And, I have so many different tools on that. One of them's in the book. But it's kind of fun sometimes to just like, okay, I have a decision. I'm going to put it in a bubble. I'm going to drop that bubble right in my heart, and boom, what's the first thing you get? And it's kind of fun to play with that, because sometimes I'll get something and I'm like, oh, I'm a little uncomfortable with that. And that's when I know, oh, that's because it's good for my growth. Most decisions from our heart are things that are good for our growth. They're not always the safe ones. Actually, they're pretty much never the safe ones. And so I just think it's a beautiful way to start. Not that we make bad decisions with our minds, but when we're doing all these pros and cons lists and spreadsheets, sometimes it just gets so convoluted. But it's really like, well, what's the best for my spirit to grow? And how can I better serve my community? And the best way to answer that is just to sit in your heart.
Yes, I love it. That awareness, that discernment, even between the kinds of feelings is everything. It's everything, you guys. And it's why I got so excited when Tiffany came to me and told me about the idea for this book, because I think that what you're writing about, the entire author cast is writing about, is foundational for an amazing life in so many different ways. Michelle and Christine, thank you so much for what you do in the world. Thank you for being here today to share it with everyone. I want to encourage our listeners. This is way more than a book. This is a very generous community. I have both Michelle and Christine hooked up down below with their sites, their links. Go click and explore. They're there to answer a question. We started some pretty juicy conversations today. Maybe you guys want to carry on that conversation, or you need support. So come on down, click on the links. We also are ready for your book purchase on Amazon. We've got the link below to the Alchemy of Intuition. Go grab your beautiful copy. And lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.